Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're having the best day of your life. In today's video, we're gonna be doing a small little new mod for the 2017 Dodge Challenger. So hopefully you guys enjoy what it looks like. Hopefully I like what it looks like, but without further ado, let's get started. What is the mod we're going to install in today's video? It's this. Some may call it a cardboard box, others see it as opportunity. This actually goes into the center arm console and you can put some business cards, some loose change, and you can, in all seriousness, today's video, we're actually gonna be installing what they're called is puddle lights or shadow lights or Dodge Challenger door lights. There's a lot of different words and different phrases for it, but I'm going to call them shadow lights because that's what I had on my Mercedes. And essentially the door panels have these lights at the bottom of the door where you can switch them out and you can install different emblems. Mine being the Scat pack, as you can see, there's this little Super B back there, and there's one right over here. I'm going to be installing the actual Super B that's going to be lit up onto the ground. So every time I open my door, you're going to see this light on the ground, and I think it'll look really cool. If you guys have followed me for a while, you'll remember that my Mercedes had one. A good friend of mine, Brandon, bought me those as a gift. I installed them. The video was a huge success. A lot of people liked it. A lot of people wanted it on their car, and I really liked how it looked myself. Every time I'd open the door, the Mercedes emblem would light up on the ground, and I'm hoping to accomplish that with these. They should be lighting a Super B. I don't know what the size is going to be, but I'm hoping it's noticeable because I really like how that looks. Now, if you like today's mod and you want to put it on your car, I will put a link in the description below to the actual product and where I bought it. I personally got it off of eBay, but depending on the time that you're watching this video, that link may have expired or no longer exists. So I suggest that if you click on that link and it leads you to nowhere, I would definitely just Google Dodge Challenger Scat Pack puddle light. It's also called a ghost light or shadow light. If you put any variation of those words, it should come up with the results, because I know Amazon and eBay had different products. The one I got, actually, personally, it's just the Super B light. There's different kinds. So there's one that will shine a red light and then the Super B will be in the middle. There's another one that will shine a white light and the Super B will be in the middle. And then mine's just the Super B. So depending on what product you want, there's a lot of different options out there, much more than I've seen on like the Mercedes and stuff like that. So if you're really curious and you really want to buy it and you don't like the one that I'm using today, then just Google it and I'm sure you'll come up with a bunch of different results. So without further ado, let's get this video started. I've actually never done this install myself on this car. I did it on my Mercedes, and all I needed was a flathead screwdriver. So I've got 3 different kinds, actually, depending on the width that I'll need. I'll kind of play around and see which one, but definitely a flathead screwdriver should work. And then that's pretty much all you'll need to get this install ready. This is just based on videos I've seen on YouTube. I don't know if it'll take any more than that, but we'll find out in today's video. It's actually pretty simple and pretty easy. Now, I will add a footnote that if you own the prior generation Dodge Challenger, so I'm talking from like 2008 to 2014, I think it's a lot more complicated to get these lights installed. Now, they do sell them for this car, but it's a little bit more complicated because you got to take off the door panel, to my understanding, and do all the wiring that way. If I'm mistaken, if you own one of those vehicles and you've done one of these and it's super easy, definitely correct me if I'm wrong, but from my understanding, the easy part is from the 2015 to the present. Those Challengers are just like plug and play, whereas the older ones, I think there was some sort of door assembly required. But again, look up your YouTube videos, and if you have any questions, then definitely consult the Challenger forums. But this is primarily for the newer generation Dodge Challengers from 2015 going forward. So mine's a 2017 Scat Pack 392 Hemi Scat Pack shakers, to be more specific. So this will fit on mine, but I definitely recommend looking at the product details to see if it will fit on yours. Now let's get started. Now let's unbox this sucker and see what it looks like. It's very hard to do with one hand. All right. All right, so this is them. Pretty cool, pretty standard, pretty basic, not much to them. Hopefully this installation is easy for you guys so that you can do it on your car. Now, the first thing you're gonna wanna do is pick a very hot day. So you're gonna want it to be like 100 degrees outside, because that makes it a lot easier for this installation, and because you're a moron. So the light I'm talking about specifically is this one right here. This light, you're not going to be able to tell because it's sunny outside, but this light just shines a regular kind of yellow looking color on the ground. It's really not noticeable when you're driving or when you're opening the door, but this one will hopefully be noticeable, the one I'm about to install. After about an hour of being out in the sun and doing that, I finally got it to wiggle out. You really just kind of have to pry this flathead into that area and try to wiggle it out as best as you can. I don't think there's really any technique to it, but we finally got it out. I can't tell if I broke anything. I don't think so, but at the same time, I don't care too much because I'm replacing these with one of these. So be careful because this is very extremely hot because of the light bulb on the other side. So when you're prying this off of this white part over here, just be careful not to touch this surface that I'm pointing at right here, this top area, because that's where the light is shining the most, and so it heats up very much. Now, to get this white part out, you're going to want to put a flathead right into that area down here, because that will kind of push in this white part and pull it out all the way. So as you can see, that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to pry the flathead screwdriver into that area so that this white part can come off. So now that I've got this light off over here, we're going to install this one. And it should just be a plug and play. Now, another note I want to make is when you're installing these, make sure that you test and see what the shape is going to look like on the ground. So for example, I will slightly just place this into the white component until I'm seeing a little bit of a light, and then I will point this like on my leg or on my hand and see what it looks like. And according to this, you know, the Super Bee will be facing on the ground kind of directly where I'm at. So when I open, the Super Bee will be facing kind of the right side up when the door is open. So be careful, because the other one that I have here, that's going to be pointed the opposite way because it's going to be on the opposite door. So just be wary of that when you're installing it, because it will look different on each side. This isn't a shape that you can kind of flip around unless you really want to have it the other way, but you can. But just make sure that you're careful of that when you're installing, that it's the right light on my hairy legs. Now that I have it in, I don't have the little white notch locking in correctly, but I think that's just because it's an aftermarket piece. Now you can kind of shove it back in and just place it into its correct slot. And there you have it, folks. That's the first side of installation. We're going to do the exact same stuff to the other side, and then once we're done, we'll show you what it looks like when it's dark outside. All right, folks, just got both sides installed. Are you guys ready for the big reveal? Well, check that out. there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I think it looks awesome. I really like how they look. They're actually better than I thought they would. They're a little bit bigger than I expected, and I really like that because I wanted it to be noticeable when you open the door, and I think that's pretty damn noticeable. So I really like how it turned out, and I apologize it's a little bit dark. I had to find a dark garage so that I could show you what it looks like because it's actually daylight outside, but I really like how it turned out. I will give you 2 tips before you install yours. One is I would definitely try to pry it open from the opposite side of where the light bulb is, where the wiring is. If you pry it open on the opposite side, you're actually going to be able to get it a little bit easier. So what I mean by that is on this right here, you're going to want to pry it open from this end. So this is the opposite end of where the wire goes into right here. You're going to want to pry it open from this end. So if it's plugged in like this in the door, try to pry it open from this side first because it essentially falls out like that. It doesn't come out this way because the wiring is kind of stuck in right here. So you're going to want to push it downwards and then out. So hopefully you can tell what that is on camera, but that's the kind of motion you're going to want to go through. The second tip is make sure that the light is facing down the way you want it to be. So as you can tell, the head is up here, not down here. If you flip it up the opposite way, the head is going to be over here and the wheels are going to be down here. So again, hopefully you can tell what that is on camera, but unless you want it inverted, just pay attention to that when you're making the install because that will make a difference when you're installing both sides, and I don't want to make you reinstall both if you're going to do that. So those are 2 tips I have. Overall, you just have to put a little bit of elbow grease into it. You're going to feel like you're going to break it, but you're actually not breaking it, or even if you are, it's not really that important because you can get these ones pretty cheap online if you ever want to revert it to stock. But just put a little bit of elbow grease in it and pull it out from the end that's opposite of the wiring, and just make sure you pay attention to where the head is. Make sure it's right side up or however you want it to be, because that's how it's going to be when you open the door. So those are 2 tips I have, but other than that, I'll put a link in the description like I said, or you can just Google it and try to find it yourself. But I really like this mod. It cost me, I think, if I'm not mistaken, around $40. It might have gone up or down in price when I post the link or when you take a look at it, but I think it's well worth it. I've seen some much more expensive mods for less, and I really like the way it looks every time I open the doors. But let me know what your thoughts are. Do you like the shadow lights? Would you want to get it for your vehicle? Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also find me on Instagram at @Schwazy_. I post photos of the Challenger on almost a daily basis, so if you're not getting enough Challenger love from this channel, then definitely check out the Instagram. But I will catch you all at the next video. Take care and have a wonderful day. This is kind of a funny little bonus, but when you have the door open and then you close it, you can still see a little Super Bee over there lit up from those shadow lights or ghost lights. So there I have the door open. It's over here. And then you close it and you can still see it fading away.